There's nothing quite like a good shadow drop of a brand new, full, finished game. You're just living your life, scrolling through your backlog, trying to decide if you should finally start that one game you know you're gonna like if you ever actually get around to it, or instead play that one game that you've beat more times than you can count when BAM! Out of nowhere there's another full-ass game for you to either play right then, or add to your ever-growing pile of new releases that you'll quote-unquote get to eventually. Just a couple years ago we got Hi-Fi Rush shadow dropped on us like a ton of bricks. A ton of bricks that was an absolutely amazing genre-defying grand slam. Earlier this very year, Ninja Gaiden made its big return with the shadow drop of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Natural fit for a series all about ninjas. And recently, in the last couple weeks, there was the leaked like crazy but still sort of a surprise Oblivion remaster that I imagine was extremely exciting for people over the age of 32. Now, to be totally honest, none of this is relevant whatsoever for this particular video because the game I want to talk about today was not shadow dropped, like at all, in any sense.
What? What are you talking about?
Hold on. However, hold on. It did feel that way to me. So therefore, I will be counting it because I needed some kind of lead-in and this was the best I could do. Plus, this video might as well be considered a shadow drop at this point since I am most definitely the last person to get around to discussing this game. Look, I've been busy or I would have gotten to it sooner. Well, sooner than this at least. In all seriousness, the game in question, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, in case you didn't read the title or look at the thumbnail for some reason, was not on my radar at all until I randomly stumbled upon it via TikTok literally the day it was released. If I had a nickel for every time I discovered an amazing game by seeing a random clip of it on the 5th worst social media app, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. If you're like me and didn't hear anything about this game, it's a turn-based story-driven RPG from French developer Sandfall Interactive. Don't be surprised if you've never heard of them because this is actually their first game, which makes the way it's collecting 10 out of 10s somehow even more impressive. According to the director of the game, classic JRPG series like Final Fantasy and Persona were a big inspiration for the team and how they approach crafting their own spin on the genre. While Clair Obscur isn't actually a JRPG, it proudly wears that influence on its sleeve, and as a pretty big fan of the genre, I absolutely love to see it. Combine all that with its dark French fantasy setting and fascinatingly unique premise, and you have a recipe for an absolute banger of a game, potentially even Game of the Year. Especially since GTA got delayed again. Anywho, that's basically the video. Is Clair Obscur Expedition 33 truly Game of the Year material? Yes, easily. But let's dig a little deeper into why. Starting with the gameplay because duh. Now, I love any game that can take the tried and true turn-based combat system and create their own unique spin on it. One of the main aspects of Atlas games that really drew me in was how they did that exact thing within the SMT and Persona series. The press turn and one more systems respectively really give those games their own voice and allow them to stand out among their contemporaries, along with like everything else about them, but still. Expedition 33 manages to accomplish a similar thing by incorporating real-time action elements into the classic turn-based formula. When using a character's skills, you have to quick time a series of button presses, which will either power up the move when done correctly, or punish you when failed. It goes much deeper than just throwing QTEs at you. You can also dodge and parry enemy attacks if your timing is good enough. Parrying enemy attacks requires more precise timing than dodging, but allows you to strike back at your foe with a counterattack. This makes it riskier to pull off, but well worth it if you can. And oh boy, could I sometimes pull it off. As cliche as it is at this point, it does have a bit of a Dark Souls vibe to it. With so much emphasis placed on nailing a good dodge or parry in order to really put the hurt on your opponent. Best part of all is the fact that it just works really, really well. At its worst, turn-based combat can struggle to stay engaging throughout an entire game's runtime. It runs the risk of becoming boring quickly, but there are those games that manage to make it feel consistently dynamic and continuously satisfying. Expedition 33 is one such game, and the devs, being the rock stars they are, didn't stop there either. They made the gameplay even deeper by giving all the characters their own unique mechanics that go beyond just having individual movesets. For example, the main character Gustav, played by the daredevil himself, Charlie Cox, has a mechanical arm, and throwing down against enemies with said arm lets it collect charges via specific skills, dodging or parrying. Collect enough charges and you can unleash a powerful attack called Overcharge that deals massive damage depending on how many charges you have stored up. Get it up to the maximum of 10 and you can really wreck house. This whole gameplay system is unique to Gustav and exists within the regular turn-based shenanigans. Naturally, this affects how you play as him versus the other party members and makes an already dynamic gameplay loop even more dynamic. His gameplay is the most straightforward too, with some of the other characters' exclusive battle mechanics being much more complicated. I'd go as far as to say they could even be a bit confusing at first, but are easy enough to pick up through just playing the game. These unique character mechanics add a whole nother layer of complexity to the game that makes it somehow even more engaging. On top of that, it pairs perfectly with all the other RPG elements the game offers as well, like skill trees and special weapons with stats and abilities that really allow you to hone in on your specific playstyle. And then that further pairs well with the exploration of 33's open world areas. Who knows what kind of sick-ass weapons you'll find with sick-ass abilities. When you really boil it down, it's just exactly what you want from this kind of game. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 truly goes above and beyond to create some of the richest gameplay I've experienced in a long time. Believe it or not, gameplay is a pretty massive part of what makes a video game, good. That being said, there's one thing that can separate good video games from great ones.
Presentation!
And I don't just mean how the game looks graphically, although Expedition 33 isn't exactly slouching in that department regardless. The entire look and feel of the game is just another area where Landfall has excelled at creating something that is borderline extraordinary. Everything from the dark fantasy French aesthetics and world design to the single button command UI utilized in battle. Taking more cues from Persona, Clair assigns each of the face buttons with a specific function, such as opening your skills or items. That not only simplifies the UI, but also adds a nice bit of flair to the menus and an extra layer of immersion. You're never pulled out of the moment to navigate through various menus. The UI outside of battle could maybe use some tweaks, but it's really not that bad. The game doesn't hold your hand and show you exactly where you need to go. You do have a map when you're in the hub area, but it can only be so helpful. I do kind of struggle with this a bit just because my brain doesn't work and I can't remember where anything is in life or in video games. However, I do like it here because I think it fits well within the story. These characters don't have a map, they've never been to these areas before, and you as the player also feel that. I could definitely see it being an issue for some players. Hell, I did have some issues with it myself, but I think it adds more to the game than it takes away. Also, I just love looking at this game. The world Clair Obscur presents you with is easily one of the most imaginative game worlds out there. Sandfall have truly embraced how far you can take the genre of fantasy in regards to world design, and it all looks amazing. The designs of all the enemies you encounter in these areas also match up in regards to inventiveness, and they also look badass. There's this absolute sense of cohesiveness to the look of the whole game that really stands out to me. This might be one of the best examples of what you can pull off with a clear and focused vision in mind. That care and attention definitely carries over to their treatment of the story as well, although the game does start off with an advantage simply by having such a cool overarching premise. Gustav and his friends live in a world ravaged by some kind of apocalyptic event called the Fracture. Once every year since the Fracture, this massive goddess-esque creature called the Paintress wakes up, writes a giant number in the sky as part of a long countdown to 0, and everyone over that age gets Thanos'd. Naturally, people aren't very cash money about that, so once a year, they launch an expedition with the sole goal of bringing the pain to the Paintress. You play as Gustav, as he and the rest of Expedition 33 set out to save the world, or what's left of it. Now, to be completely transparent, I haven't actually finished the story at this point, but I am more than halfway through and feel pretty confident saying that the story is good. I like the characters quite a bit, I love the overarching world and premise, and even as far as I've gotten in the game, there have been some insane twists and turns that have me determined to see how this all ends. Just like every other aspect of Clair Obscur, the story is wonderfully executed and handles its admittedly heavy subject matter really well. Be warned going in, this game is pretty damn sad. There's a lot of focus on death and mourning, so it's not always a feel-good experience, but unless they fumble it at the end, it's definitely going to be one hell of an experience. It seems the devs did a fantastic job delving into those themes through the lens of well-defined characters and an interesting story, and that's just great to see. God, I feel like I've just been gushing over this game for the last however long this video is, but I have really enjoyed my time with it. It's not perfect, no game is, but it feels about as close as you can get these days, and the best part is, it just hit me out of nowhere. I had never even heard of this game until it was released, and now I think it's easily my game of the year. Not that there's been a lot of competition so far, but still, there's plenty of year left, and even if this isn't the best game of 2025 by the time 2026 sneaks up on us, I will continue to be incredibly happy that Expedition 33 found me the way it did. It's one of those games that reminds you why you love the medium in the first place. But hey, that's just my opinion on it. I'd love to hear about some other people's experiences with this game, especially if it didn't vibe with you. I'd be interested to know what about it didn't click, assuming you can express your opinion respectfully. If I want to argue with belligerent children, I have my own kids to argue with. If you like this this video, then giving it a like would be a big help, and subscribing to the channel to see more from us would be a bigger help. I've been a bit busy moving and working and parenting and whatever, but things should settle soon, so expect more new videos that I've been wanting to work on for a while now. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in whatever we do next.